The emergency lights cast a crimson glow across the narrow corridor, flickering intermittently as the hull shuddered under the assault of enemy fire. I stumbled through the smoke-filled passage, clutching a plasma cutter as my only defense. My ship, the Horizon's Edge, had been ambushed in deep space, caught off guard by the Xylarian fleet. I had watched helplessly as the plasma cannons tore through my crew quarters, the explosions snatching away the people I had called family. I should have died along with them. My escape pod had been ripped from the hull just moments before a catastrophic chain reaction reduced my ship to molten debris. The pod shuttled me toward the nearest enemy vessel, the Night Wraith, a colossal warship belonging to the Xylarians, the race humans had only encountered through intercepted communications and grim reports from border skirmishes. No human had ever boarded one of their ships and lived to tell the tale. Yet, here I was, trapped inside their labyrinthine corridors. I had no weapons, no reinforcements, and no hope of immediate rescue. Only instincts honed over years in the United Earth Federation fleet were keeping me alive. Then I saw her. Commander Zyra, the Xylarian who had led the boarding party that captured my pod, stepped from the shadows. She was taller than any human I had ever seen, her skin an iridescent shade of violet, her eyes glowing faintly like twin embers. Her mandibles flexed in what I assumed was a Xylarian expression of suspicion. In her clawed hand, she held an energy rifle, trained steadily at my chest. "You are far from your vessel, human," she said, her voice a strange blend of musical resonance and mechanical modulation. "Explain why you are still breathing." I raised my hand slowly, forcing a grin I didn't feel. "I wasn't planning on dying just yet," I replied. "Lucky, I guess." Her eyes narrowed. "Luck is not a strategy." She stepped closer, her presence commanding every inch of the corridor. "You could be dead a dozen ways by now, yet you survive. You are curious." I swallowed, aware that my mind had to work faster than her reflexes. Maybe I just didn't want to die. Maybe I wanted to see what's inside this ship from the inside. Zyra's mandibles clicked, a gesture I learned later signified intrigue in her culture. She gestured with her rifle toward a side hatch. "Follow me, human. You will answer my questions. Do not attempt to flee, or you will regret it." We walked in silence, the hum of the ship's core vibrating through the metal floor beneath our feet. I could hear distant alarms, likely warning signals of our intrusion. Despite the danger, a part of me marveled at the sheer scale of the Night Wraith. Its corridors stretched like a city, vast and alien, with walls lined with glowing conduits and control panels displaying data I could barely comprehend. We reached a chamber that resembled a command hub. Screens flickered with star maps, fleet formations, and a dozen unknown symbols. Zyra motioned me to a seat, a human-sized chair in the center of the room. I hesitated, knowing it could be a trap, but her glowing eyes left no room for argument. "Now," she said, settling opposite me, "why did you survive the attack on your vessel? Why did you not surrender to the inevitable?" I blinked, considering my words carefully. This was no interrogation to extract technical information. It was personal. She wanted to understand the human who had defied logic and expectation. "I suppose," I began, "I made a choice. I could have gone down with my ship. I could have fought to the last man and died. But when the escape pod opened, I realized something. Life is worth more than pride. And sometimes, mercy is the stronger weapon." Zyra's mandibles twitched. "Mercy? A human shows mercy to her enemy." "Yes," I said. "Because if I killed everyone I fought against, what would I become? What would humanity become? Survival isn't just about destroying the enemy. It's about knowing when to protect what matters, even if that means sparing someone like you." For a moment, the only sound was the low hum of the ship. Then Zyra leaned back, her glowing eyes studying me in a way that made my spine tense. "You are not like the others we have faced," she said. "Your kind is reckless, aggressive, and sentimental. But you calculate differently. You act against instinct for reasons beyond mere survival." I shrugged. "Instinct gets you killed. Sometimes it's strategy that keeps you alive." She tilted her head, mandibles clicking softly. Then, unexpectedly, she gestured for me to stand. "Come with me," she said, leading me down a narrow stairwell. We moved deeper into the ship, bypassing security checkpoints I hadn't even noticed. Somehow, she trusted me. Or perhaps she simply found my presence more fascinating than dangerous. We reached a containment bay. Inside were prisoners, captured humans, floating in stasis pods, their faces pale and serene. The reality of the situation hit me. This wasn't a warship only in name. It was a prison, a factory for conquest. I swallowed hard, my mind racing. Zyra turned to me. "Do you understand the magnitude of what you're seeing?" "Yes," I said, forcing my voice to remain calm. "You could have killed me when you captured me. But instead, you brought me here perhaps to see if I would do the right thing." Her glowing eyes softened, a subtle change I didn't expect. "And what would you do, human? Would you destroy us? Release your species? Sacrifice yourself?" I took a deep breath. "I would do whatever preserves life. Not just mine, not just humans, but anyone who can be saved. Killing isn't the solution. Survival is, but not at the cost of becoming monsters ourselves." She studied me for what felt like an eternity, the only sound the faint hum of the stasis fields. Then, finally she nodded. "Perhaps you are correct." I hesitated. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said slowly, "that I will not kill you." "Not yet. You are different. Perhaps one day, humans and Xylarians may understand each other. Perhaps it will begin with you." A tense silence filled the room. And then, without warning, the ship jolted violently. Alarms screamed as warning lights bathed the corridors in red and yellow. Something outside the hull had attacked. Another Xylarian fleet? A human counterstrike? "Follow me," Zyra commanded. We ran through corridors that twisted and bent like the innards of some colossal beast. Plasma fire streaked past us, and the hull groaned under pressure. We reached an observation deck, and I saw the reason for the chaos. A human task force had found us, their ships surrounding the Night Wraith. Zyra's eyes flared. "They will destroy us all if we do not act." I swallowed hard, weighing my options. I had every reason to seize this moment and escape, to leave the enemy to their destruction. But then I saw Zyra, standing firm amid the chaos, and realized something profound. I had chosen mercy once, and I could choose it again. "Let me help," I said, pulling up the ship's tactical display. "We can create a temporary shield over the stasis bay. Your prisoners will survive, and the humans won't destroy the entire ship. Trust me." She regarded me with a mixture of suspicion and hope. Then slowly she nodded. "Do as you say. But if you betray me—" "I won't," I interrupted. "I don't betray life." Working together, we rerouted power from the ship's weapon systems to the stasis bay, creating a shimmering protective field that deflected the incoming bombardment. The human fleet fired relentlessly, but the shield held, saving the prisoners. When the attack subsided, the ship's hull was damaged but intact. Zyra turned to me, her mandibles clicking softly. "You could have abandoned your enemy. You could have let them die. Yet you chose this. Why?" I smiled faintly. "Because mercy is the real measure of strength. And sometimes The enemy you spare becomes the ally you need. Her glowing eyes softened further. Perhaps humans are not as predictable as I believed. I nodded. We aren't. But sometimes that unpredictability can save lives on both sides. For the first time, Zyra extended one of her clawed hands toward me. Human, perhaps we are not so different after all. I shook it cautiously, feeling the strange, warm energy radiating from her touch. In that moment, I realized that this encounter, this improbable choice to spare life, might redefine the course of the war between our species. As we looked out over the starfield, battered ships and glowing explosions in the distance, I knew one thing. The universe was bigger than fear, bigger than revenge. And even in the midst of war, humanity could choose something greater: mercy, compassion, and courage in the face of annihilation. Zyra turned back to me, her expression unreadable, but her eyes glowing faintly with a strange reverence. You have done something no human before you has done. You have made me question everything. Perhaps the war can be different. I allowed myself a small, tired smile. It starts with one choice, I said. And in the vast, unforgiving void of space, that choice echoed farther than either of us could imagine. Humanity's strength not in our weapons, but in the mercy that made us truly dangerous. As the human fleet withdrew, leaving the battered night wraith behind, the ship fell silent except for the low hum of its damaged systems. Zyra stood beside me, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond the viewport. You could have killed me at any moment, she said quietly. Yet you didn't. Why? I looked at her, tired but resolute. Because even enemies deserve a chance to survive. Because the strength of a species isn't just measured in battles won, but in the choices we make when no one is watching. Her mandibles clicked softly, a gesture I had learned meant respect. Perhaps humans are more than I understood. Perhaps there is hope for peace after all. I nodded. It starts with one choice. One moment. One act of mercy can change everything. For the first time, Zyra smiled, a strange, alien expression that somehow carried warmth. She extended her clawed hand. Then let this be the beginning, human. Let this day be proof that, even in war, we can choose differently. I took her hand. In that simple gesture, a bridge was built, not between factions but between species. The universe was still vast, still dangerous, but for the first time, it seemed like there might be a future where humanity's courage and compassion were more powerful than any weapon. And as the stars stretched endlessly before us, I realized that surviving this encounter wasn't just about living. It was about proving that humanity's true strength lay in mercy, hope, and the ability to choose life over destruction. The war was far from over, but somewhere, in the heart of an enemy warship, a new alliance, fragile, unspoken, but possible, had begun.